Well, it is time. So welcome to case study, creative classroom to newsroom partnerships. It is our final session for our NewsLitCamp on this National News Literacy Week. We hope everyone has enjoyed this day of learning, and a big thank you to Scripps. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Alexa, shall we? Yep. So frequently asked questions. If you haven't attended any of the earlier sessions, you may not know, yes, all of our sessions will be recorded and shared following this NewsLitCamp. You can request a certificate of attendance through the feedback survey, and copies of presentations, as well as all resources mentioned, will be shared via email next week. Also, all of NLP's resources are completely free. So all good things, all good news. More housekeeping. Use the chat for general comments and the Q&A for questions to keep them all in one place. And it's time to meet the panelists. We have Adam Chase, a Vice President and General Manager for WTKR, Scripps CBS affiliate in Norfolk, Virginia. Chase previously served as Vice President and General Manager of KXXV, Scripps ABC affiliate in Waco, Texas, and KRHD, Scripps independent station in Bryan, Texas. He also served as Vice President and General Manager at KERO, Scripps ABC affiliate in Bakersville, California, for 2 years from 2016 to 2018. Treg White is Vice President and General Manager for KGUN and KWBA, Scripps' ABC and CW affiliates in Tucson, Arizona. White has over 20 years of experience in news, sales, and station management. Prior to Scripps, he served as the General Manager of KGWN, KSTF, and KNEP television stations in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Having launched his career as a reporter and weekend anchor in North Platte, Nebraska, White also previously served as station manager at North Colorado 5 in Fort Collins, Colorado, news director at KGWN in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and executive producer at KOLN in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I'll let Adam and Treg add anything they want for when they speak. Let's kick it over to Adam.
All right, hello. Can we first admit that Treg White's bio is much more impressive than mine? Great job, Treg White. No, thank you, Pamela, for having me. I'll admit a couple things. I'm going to cheat on this test. I made a couple notes, so apologies. And two, I'm very nervous about being in front of a bunch of teachers. So this is taking me back to my high school days. So thank you. I'll start with our program here in Norfolk, Virginia. This market is very geographically large. So we have, the 7 main cities and Hampton Roads, plus northeastern North Carolina and the Outer Banks. So we serve a very large region. But what happened was last March, I got a random email from Miss Toth at Granby High School. She sent a blanket email out looking for any old cameras, old furniture, unused lighting. And it was probably about 45 seconds after that email that I received the email that I responded to Miss Toth saying, hey, don't talk to anybody else. I'm really excited about this email. Like, let me just talk to you. I'll come in. Let's find a time next week to chat. So I'll give you my why I responded so quick to that email and why it's important for us in the local news media to be involved in this type of relationship. My first reason, I'm a small town boy from Oklahoma. I never had morning announcements. So this was a way for me to relive that excitement that I could be involved in morning announcements and a journalism program, communication program at a high school. Two, in the news industry, and Treg can attest to this, we have a massive issue reaching any kind of young demographic. The younger generations aren't consuming news in a typical fashion. And so selfishly, we have to figure out for these next generations of news consumers, how do we learn from them? How do we grow our business with them? And then three, it was a kind of on that point too, it was an opportunity for us to get our brand and our station in front of an audience that would traditionally never consume us on TV, right? What was also exciting is I was just diving into our Instagram. Now, Instagram is still it's a way to consume news, and it's a way that younger generations consume news. And we were finding that 25% of 18 to 24-year-olds consume news on or engage with our brand on Instagram. So there's so much more education I needed to understand why they're engaging and what they're engaging with. And Miss Toth, her excitement and her ability to step into an industry or step into a field that she was really uncomfortable with, but her excitement was so amazing to watch, and she got me excited about the industry again, and I'm excited about what we could build together. So since the start of the program, we've funded approximately $15,000 worth of everything from gear to cameras to we bought new computers for the editors. We are looking at scholarship opportunities coming up this summer. And I'm going to continue this relationship every year. I'm going to find different things to fund for the program so I can still relive some of my excitement from not having this. But two, it allowed our station to get involved with educators and in a high school that traditionally we would not be, right? I've had each of my leaders on our department head team, so news, digital, engineering, sales, have all gone to the class, and they all talked to the class about their field in the news industry. And so you see some photos on your screen, I believe, of we're teaching people how to shoot on camera. We're teaching editing. I'm rambling, and it is the same jacket. So for those of you who noticed that, I have more than one jacket. I just happen to wear the same one today. But they allow us to come in and really show these hopefully future journalists how to do news in an unbiased way, and what editorial judgment is, and how to edit their morning announcements. And we're learning a lot from them on consumption and what do they look for. So we've been taking notes just as much as they have. But it's been very exciting to watch. I'd like to share, Pamela, if you don't mind, just a quick, just minute of that video of their morning announcements.
Yep, Alexa's going to get it on her computer.
Perfect.
Good morning, Granby High School Comments. Here's a look at today's news and happenings.
Good morning, I'm Brody. And I'm Cameron, reporting to you from WGHS News, powered by WTKR Channel 3.
Today is Thursday, December 14th, and it is the even day. Let's jump in and find out what's going on in the weather. What's going on out there, Tiana?
Hi, I'm Tiana, and I'm going to take you through your forecast for this week. Today and tomorrow will be sunny, but as we head into the weekend, we will expect partly cloudy with rain showers. That's it. Back to you, Kim.
Thank you, Tiana. Wow, it's going to be pretty cold out there. Now, let's check out what's coming up in the world of sports. Over to you, Joshua.
Today is the 14th, and don't forget we got track at Boo Williams at 2 p.m. Scholastic Bowl versus Booker T. Washington at Granby at 3:15 p.m. Tomorrow we have wrestling versus curve tuck and first fight. It starts at 1 p.m. at Granby. Basketball at Northview at 4 p.m. JV boys at 5:30. Varsity girls 7 p.m. Varsity boys. And Saturday, December 16th, Varsity boys basketball versus Western Branch at North at 3:30. Back to you, NewsLitCamp.
Thank you, Joshua.
All right, that was so they've been doing their announcements. They've been working on Instagram. It was so funny to watch when they had their anchor voices and their anchor hands. And now what our plan is we go back and we talk to them about their morning announcements. We're bringing some of our anchors to co-anchor the morning announcements, which will be fun. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is we also have, we supplied all the news opens. So all the graphics, their logo, they also have WGHS press t-shirts. So when they're walking around the classrooms in the high school, they can be official. But Treg knows I like to ramble, so I'm going to cut myself off right there. And Treg's presentation will be much better than mine.
Probably not. But hey, thank you so much for inviting both Adam and I to have this conversation with all of you. Um, uh, I'll go back a couple of years, and this is kind of where some innovation and trying to meet the needs and trends of viewers or potential viewers in the future where they're at today. My son is a gamer. He's in a freshman in high school now, but when he was in seventh grade, he was playing games on the computer with some of his friends. And I thought, esports was such a big deal at that point. And so we put a note out to our TV station and said, hey, who enjoys esports? And we had like 30, 40 people respond back. And so we put together a group of people in the station and we said, hey, what if we created an E team within our station to do online stories, maybe do something on Twitch, do it on Instagram, do it on Facebook, and talk about games, new equipment that's coming out, computers during the holidays, talk about maybe games that parents may not want their kids to play or have. And it started off like that. And again, the idea was to meet individuals where they're at today, because that is their content. Gaming was my son's content. News is content. At some point in their life, we believe that they'll need television. They'll want to turn on to a TV station at some point in time because they need information. And I want them to be top of mind awareness with that individual. I want them to go to KGUN TV when that happens, when they're 25 or 30. And so fast forward, my son's in eighth grade now, a year later, and I chaperone his class's Washington, D.C., New York trip. I was watching these eighth graders, just their behaviors, just observing who they are, who's the leader in the bunch in that class. And I thought to myself, how cool would it be to have that person be an influencer at that age group, but an influencer with content that's relevant today, a story topic that's maybe happening in our communities, and have this eighth grader potentially do TikTok or whatever his parents would allow him to do, because he had a lot of influence among his peers in eighth grade. The next year, my son's in ninth grade. I'm attending his freshman orientation, and the school, Tanque Verde High School in Tucson, showed a video. And I was like, wow, that's a really cool video. It's so much fun to watch videos in these presentations. It turns out it was the TV and film class that put this video together for the parents to see about the high school that their students were going to be going to. So it got me thinking a little bit more, reached out to the principal, and I said, hey, I have two kids in your high school. I work at KGUN TV here in Tucson. I was wondering if we could get together and talk about an idea and how we could partner with your school some way and somehow. One of the things that the principal said during the orientation was that the high school or any school is a community within the community. And I think that hit home with us, that, there is a community inside the community in schools today, whether it's in small town Nebraska or wherever it might be, or in a larger city. Parents, grandparents, neighbors attend the performing arts, even though they may not have students in the school. They may attend a football game or a track meet, and there really is a connection with them among the people in the community. And so we had the conversation, and we didn't really know. We really didn't have any idea of what we were asking. We were just thinking that there was something there, and we needed to really flesh it out with them and saying, hey, how can we incorporate your students and what they do in their school newspaper and their TV and film class to allow our viewers to get a snapshot of what's happening in this community. And so we got off the ground. We ended up calling it 9 TV Student View, which worked really well for us because we were Channel 9, Tanque Verde, they're TV. So it worked really well. We got out of the gate with some videos. We published their newspaper on our website. And so every month when the students release a new newspaper edition, we publish that on our website, and then we tell people about it, saying, "Hey, here's some things that are happening in the Tanque Verde High School this month, and here's some videos." Because the newspaper and then the TV and film teams would work together to go out and shoot some video about a story that was in the newspaper that month. So if it was about homecoming and rivalries, uh, you could read it, and then the TV and film class went out and shot video, and then we supported that by putting it on our social media sites, on our website, and on and on. And fast forward a few months, we think we know what we're doing, but we don't know what we're doing totally. We're still feeling it out. I just talked to the principal and the publications teacher just a little bit ago. We were attending a media association luncheon, and we're just laughing because there's so much more we can do, and we just have to keep that partnership going with the students and also the faculty there. But it is a really great opportunity for us that we've really enjoyed this partnership with Tanque Verde High School, because we're introducing them into what we do in television, journalism, broadcast. And TV is more than what you see on the news. We have sales, we have marketing, we have creative services, we have engineering and IT. And so, all of a sudden that talks about STEM students and, that might have an interest in that. So we have all these variety of positions and roles within a TV station. And some students may only see what, we showcase on TV. We talk about news. Yes, that is the big driver of what we do. But again, within a TV station, if we can expose ourselves and be a real partner and help provide some light to those students in what they want to do down the road in this profession, there's there's numerous roles within a TV station. So we're about to change a little bit of what we've been doing. We now call it Student View. And we are now at the station, we're still doing the newspaper publication, but what we are doing now is giving the teachers and the students a topic, and then they're doing kind of like almost man on the streets, where it's a camera person or a reporter, and they just say, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And so, nothing is truly off limits. We'll be talking about politics. How about an 18-year-old that's going to vote for the first time that's a senior in high school? What do they think about the political landscape? How can we bring that viewpoint, that student view, into our viewpoint within a television station and our viewers? And so I'm really excited about that, how we've kind of transformed and now having students talk about real topics that aren't just affecting their school, but it's affecting their entire community. And I'll stop there.
That was so great. You're both leading such really impressive programs. I don't see any questions yet from our participants, but I know if I was still in the classroom that I would really be wondering, how did this get started? I know, Treg, you went to the principal's and the comms teacher. Adam, did you address it? And then
Yeah. So how it got started for us was when Miss Toth from Granby High School was setting up the program, she just blanketed email all media.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if there's an educator out there who wants to set up a partnership with a TV broadcast station, how would you recommend that they reach out? Would you recommend that blanket email, calling? How should they get started?
Yeah, I think most of us in especially on the news side have those connections at the high schools already, right? Like we always talk to the principals, we talk to the districts all the time. So there's that relationship already built. And everybody is looking for new ways to connect to their local communities, regardless of which market it is. All of us want to be better connected on the local news side. And so when these emails come in saying, "Hey, we would love to learn more about journalism. We would love to have a better relationship with the station. Our students would like to learn about your profession." that is something I believe, and Treg, please correct me, but I believe that interests us, because who doesn't love to talk about news, right? News people, we love to talk about our industry, and we love to talk about how we could be better to our local communities and find unique ways to build these relationships. That helps us, right? And all of us have that younger demographic problem. So you're satisfying, it's a reciprocal relationship. But I would just reach out. Everybody has access to every single news station. Go to their website. Everyone has a contact me page. You'll get a litany of email addresses. Start with the GMs, go to the news directors. But you should see a pretty easy way to build connections. It's just Treg and I are unique, and not everyone's going to think about this relationship from the TV side. So you might have to probe it from the educator side and reach out to the station, and that'll be like, oh, that's very interesting. And then, we can start that partnership.
Yeah, one of the things, and to piggyback off that, most classrooms, most schools, they have story ideas. Something's going on, like maybe there was a school in Tucson that I don't know, somehow they adopted a chicken, and so it runs around in the school, this elementary school, this chicken, and they have a name for it. It's a student. It's a real student, and you know, who doesn't like a story like kids taking care of a chicken that they call a student? It's bizarre, it's funny, it's cute, it's emotional, it's lighthearted, it's positive, it makes you feel good. And send those stories, ideas in, send them in, whether it comes from your school public information officer or public relations department or yourself. Send an email to the general manager, send an email to the news director. Most news departments also have a general email box that it goes to everyone. And sometimes, like for us, it's like news@kgun.com. So, send that kind of information out, because when they call back and want to do something, then the relationship starts as well. Again, we don't always know what's going on in schools, good, bad, or indifferent. We don't always know. So it's helpful just to nag us, and sending emails, and keeping it top of mind awareness for us. The other thing that I would probably suggest just overall is, just get the administration also involved in the process, because I think when you have it from the highest levels in the school and they kind of get excited about it too, it works better, and you start just building a better relationship, with the entire news organization, the TV station, the newspaper, so on and so on, and just knowing that there is bad news too. But I think what happens with that, when a school and a district create a unique relationship, when the bad news happens, they trust each other. They trust the news station to get the story right, that they're going to tell what's happening, but they know that there's a 360, there's another side to it. And they can trust them to be able to tell the real story, the right story, and not just a one-sided, this is what happened in the school today. That's part of that's relationship. And with a school that has a good relationship, they understand there's going to be, again, good, bad stories that are happening. But I think, again, they understand that a news station has trust in them, they have trust in the school, and that story becomes a 360 view, not just 180.
Yeah, and Pamela, another thing with, all of us are concerned with misinformation and disinformation. And even just asking for a school tour, like to come in, for a classroom to come in and see how the news is made, talk about the editorial process, have them learn how we vet stories, that we are very cautious and protective of our credibility and our duty as a journalism industry. yes, we make mistakes, and yes, we're very transparent when those mistakes are made, and do everything we can to correct them. But starting with that school tour, that classroom tour, is a great way to see that excitement of, I'm I'm biased. I think this place is my Disney World. Um, so I love to see when people come in and get to go to our different studios and see the lights and the cameras, and um, but then when they can learn about the editorial process, I think it gets that spark for the students.
Lovely, thanks. We
Yeah,
do,
and I would just, I'm sorry, Pam. I would add one thing that television stations specifically have an obligation to the Federal Communications Commission for every year we have to file a report about our outreach. What are we doing as a service to our community in outreach of education, jobs, recruitment, all that stuff. And so, we look at this, I look at it and say, A, it's our obligation, but it should be our true obligation as just humans and people serving our community, whether it's in Norfolk, Virginia, or Tucson, Arizona, we're serving our community. And again, we welcome educators in this process. I have education kind of running through my blood. Like, Pamela, I told you this, my mom was a teacher her entire career, and she taught fourth grade until she got demoted to third grade, which she actually liked third grade more than fourth grade. So it wasn't a demotion at all. But I witnessed every day the importance of what teachers are doing in the classroom. I have 3 kids that are in high school, 2 in high school and 1 in elementary school. I see the impressions that they make on our kids. And it's such a sometimes a thankless job, but you're making a difference. And if we can highlight that and partner with all of you to make a better and a bigger difference within our community, then it's a benefit to the education side, it's a benefit to the television side, and we inform, we investigate, and we inspire. And that's actually Adam Station's 3 words that they live and die by, but it's true. And I believe it too, that our job is to inspire at all levels.
that is a perfect segue into the next question, which is, do you think you might extend these partnerships to middle or even elementary schools?
100%. I would love to. I'm going to be, this is my bias. Scripps has a annual program called If You Give a Child a Book Campaign. And it's about an internal campaign. It's an external campaign of raising money to buy books to get into kids' hands. It encourages creativity, imagination. It spurs everything. Reading is everything. I had a news director once during an interview of a future employee say, "What was the last book you read?" And that candidate looked at him, and they said something. He looks at me. He's like, "Trey, what was the last book you read?" I said, "Curious George." Curious George is everything that a journalist is. I mean, they're curious about everything. They snoop around. They might get into a little bit of trouble because they ended up in the wrong area, maybe a hot air balloon or whatever. But you have to be curious, and it starts with reading. And so if we can introduce those elements at a K through third grade level, that then fourth through sixth, they keep and continue to grow and build off that foundation and say, hey, look, these are cool jobs. Look at this TV anchor. Look at this reporter. It's a cool job. But you know where it starts? It starts with reading. It really does. So how do you build it from K through third and then just keep going? And again, we just have to keep a finger on the pulse of that and keep coming back and not just parachute into a school and then leave forever. We got to keep coming back again and again and again.
And then if you look at to piggyback off of Treg's pitch for the Scripps Howard Fund book fairs that we do at our stations, it is so amazing when we do these book fairs that we go to these, we go to these elementary schools, and it's usually a Title I school, and it's just amazing to see, we did one last week where we had 458 kids, each kid got 5 books, and they got to select their own books. It was amazing. What's even more amazing is to see that they recognize our anchors and our reporter. Like, I know you, you're on TV. And it was like, it gives me goosebumps because it shows you that they are watching even our product passively through their parents or caretakers. But what the obligation is that we have as a news organization, not just to the 25-year-old, the 54-year-old, but to the children. And how are we inspiring them to change the world as they grow up? And so it's such a fun thing to be involved. Yes, so I'm a rambler, but to end my ramble, to answer your question, of course, I could see involvement in the younger grades as well.
I can clearly see both of your passion for journalism and broadcasting. A lot of times kids are told journalism is dead.
Mhm.
How much of this program is educating students that journalism is a viable career? And then if you want to bring in, maybe expand on when you talked about how you brought kids in and you introduced them to the different aspects of the news station beyond reporter, beyond broadcaster, right? What does it mean when you mentioned what does an IT person do at a broadcast station, at a TV station?
I think,
Yeah,
oh,
go
sorry,
ahead.
Chuck. When someone might say journalism is dead, I think it's more important and alive now than ever. The platforms are being challenged. And so it's up to us in the news organizations to adapt. And we can no longer sit and say, okay, every viewer out there will only consume us on TV, and we're going to hold the news until the 5 or 6 p.m. newscast because they'll wait to consume it. All of us are really trying to find out. I talked about Instagram earlier. How do people consume on that product? And yes, while we don't monetize it, our product, journalism, is so important. We have to start giving it to people. As Treg said, we have to meet them where they are. And that's going to be on Instagram. That's going to be on X. That's going to be on LinkedIn. That's going to be on YouTube. Is a massive place to consume journalism right now. And so I would challenge back and say, journalism is alive. It's just living in so many more places. We have to be better on the journalism business side to get to those places and actually serve those platforms with how they want to be served, not just, oh, let's take a broadcast clipping and slap it on YouTube and call that a day. That's not doing the YouTube viewer any service. We have to really change the way we do things to keep journalism thriving in these new environments.
Yeah, just what Adam said, actually.
Fantastic. All right, we had a comment, not really a question, but I'll turn it into a question from Christine, who said, your programs sound amazing, but part of it was sad because the case studies certainly don't seem scalable. So can you think how your programs could be scaled across the country?
Mm-hmm. So here's what I think, and I don't know yet, but I do think that this could happen. We think it's scalable in Tucson. We have many school districts within our community, and we've already talked to, because they've called us asking, hey, wait a minute, I've seen Tanque Verde Unified School District on, like, what do we need to do? We have a program. And so we're having those initial conversations with them. And I think that what I said to them is that we haven't even perfected our relationship with Tanque Verde yet. So I hate to jump into it with you, because I need to shore up some of our deficiencies, not the schools, on their end, but our end. And so, that's how, at least internally within a community, can scale a little bit more. Because again, now multiple, one school district has reached out to us. Hopefully, another one will, and another one, and another one. that's our goal, is to scale it that way. But across the country, like, honestly, it's having conversations like this with all of you. And again, I don't know where, the 27, 23 individuals that are on the call are all from, but it's you taking an idea, crafting it, talking with your administration, and reaching out and creating that partnership with that television or newspaper organization in your community. And that's how it becomes scalable across the country. It starts with an idea, and then somebody takes it and puts it into action in their own town.
Yeah, and I'll start off by saying, yes, we funded $15,000 of their program. That was me being a traditional broadcaster going in and thinking that things had to be done a certain way. This is there's my son. Hold on, right there. This is $100, right? I don't know, probably more than that. But whatever plan you're on, you can get an iPhone. Quick shout out to WTKR on Instagram. You can see how to shoot vertical video, right? Vertical video is like this. If you ever send video to a TV station, send it this way. If you ever send it to social media, send it that way, okay? We started doing a lot of vertical video. Now on Granby High's Instagram, they're doing more vertical video. You can start any program with a cell phone, right? You can edit on a cell phone. You don't have to have fancy lighting, fancy studio cameras. It's just, I went a little overboard. I think my excitement got really in the way. But I would say start that way. If you don't have, some high schools and some programs have a studio, some don't. Today, Phoebus High School asked me if I would be on their advisory council as they're diving deeper. And so I now have a lot of learned lessons that I don't have to go so broadcast in there. I can really help them on a smaller scale. But really think about it that way. A lot of people consume news right here. And so I would start programs really thinking about how do we start educating our students, because they all have cell phones. How do we start on the platform that they're already on?
And Pamela, talking about like the engineering and the STEM, when you think about even the cell phones, everything is connected. Like, how do we connect our phones to our servers, to our on-air presentations? It takes somebody with some IT background, some curiosity about how to connect all those dots. Engineering, for example, is critical. They're the core of really what we do, because if our equipment doesn't work, if our transmitters don't work to get the news out, and everything that the reporters have done all day long is for naught. So, having those conversations with individuals about, hey, you're technically savvy, you like this kind of stuff, you like tinkering with things. Engineers tinker with cameras, tripods, servers, IT. I mean, they do all, like, it's really a hodgepodge when it comes to their kind of expertise, because they're dealing with everything, computers to maybe even just, installing a satellite dish or something in a truck. I mean, it's very much a hands-on. And then you have a creative services department that are creating commercials, promotions for the station, either on air or online. And so that's a very creative type person, and really art driven with Adobe Creative Cloud and After Effects and Photoshop. They're driving that train. So you have to have a really creative individual to kind of do those kind of things. And then like the marketing, sales, that is a creative job that has endless amounts of money, because commission based, so the more you sell, the more you make. But a person that can listen, create a marketing plan, present that plan to someone, tell them about the benefits. I'm sure that there's probably some kid in some lunchroom selling his peanut butter jelly sandwich to somebody, or getting an upgrade from a friend. and for lunch. That's selling. That's talking to them. So again, journalism, sales, creative services, engineering, all those things are again within a TV station. So a lot of opportunities.
What you're saying is making me think from an educator perspective, and I know we have lots of different types of educators here today. My background, I was a bunch of different things, but I'm thinking right now from a 6th grade social studies perspective. And I'm thinking of all the curriculum I have to I don't want to say cover, but that's, always on mind, right? So when I am thinking about how to engage with a news station, is there one type of educator, one grade level that is going to lend itself better than others? Obviously a journalism class for sure, right? But for a 6th grade social studies teacher, is this where are the connections?
Yeah.
It's
I
K
think-
through 12 and beyond. It's like
I
any
think-
teacher should reach out.
Yeah, sorry, Treg. Because everything that's happening in the world, or specifically in our our local communities, matters to everybody. It matters because that the child in kindergarten or 6th grade has to make sense of what's happening around them, and as we approach a very important political year, how are our students really taking that in and saying, okay, what is happening out there? And that's kind of a new story in itself, right? And I think I think it matters to everyone. I think it matters how we talk to how parents, like myself, my 2-year-old doesn't really understand what's happening yet, but he's going to get to a point where I have to learn how to decipher information. And do I have all that information correct so I can get it to him correctly? So I believe it's a equal opportunity for, K through 12.
Yeah, and I could see even in your morning news and morning announcements that would be a way to do a massive approach. Denise, I think you and I were on the same wavelength. As I was asking my question, your question came in, and I'll just read it to Treg and Adam. Hi, thanks so much for holding these forums. One of the biggest constraints is staff time, both for teachers and in newsrooms. Is there any estimate for how much newsroom staff time was dedicated to the programs and the case studies? Curious, as we're pitching to news organizations, how much they should expect.
Yeah, so we had a little time in the startup because, again, we got in the way as broadcasters and wanted to go in and, okay, we want to help with the lighting. We want to get you a switcher. We want to get you new iMac editors. So we went a little overboard. So the engineering team had maybe they had 5 hours in the startup. Right now, we probably dedicate 1 to 2 hours a month. When, I think last month, this month was engineering. So our director of engineering went into the class and spoke about the cool things that you can learn on the engineering side of broadcast, and showed them how to use some gear. I think next month, I believe our director of sales is going in for an hour to talk about how do you monetize news? How do you, as a child, I never knew that existed. Happy it does now. But, and so it's not a huge lift. Maybe we spent a couple hours on the graphics, getting all the graphics done for them. So it's nothing from a TV station that we're going to have to dedicate, a full-time staff to. But most of us have somebody in our station that handles community relations. This falls under that. And so our amazing community relations manager, Norma, really heads up the program. And that, sometimes maybe she's spending 30 minutes a month just getting calendar invites out and getting, pitching ideas. So it's not a massive time, issue for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's, we don't expect a lot of time from the school and the students. It's the time they put in and we put in that's the results. It's been pretty easy. I mean, a lot of it's through email. Right now, we're creating a senior day here at the end of February where the seniors from the school will be coming in to the station, and we'll have booths, almost like a career day, so you can learn about all the departments within the station for a day. And it's things like that that take a little more time on both parties' ends. But like the actual for us, the sharing of content and engaging with the students, it's really not that much time at all. I mean, maybe a half an hour a week, um, at least on our end. Maybe a little bit more on the school's end because they are really trying to do a great job, and we certainly encourage them. But on the station's ends, it's not that much, so that should help um, the school and the district maybe attract that partnership because again, it's really about the time everybody wants to put into it.
Thank you both. Really helpful hearing about the programs and advice for teachers who want to start. Alexa, if you want to share the final screen and so our participants can, I don't know if you all heard that echo, but it came right back to me. So our participants can get the QR code to give us feedback. And while they are doing that, Treg and Adam, if you have any final words of advice or wisdom you want to share, it is the end of our NewsLitCamp.
Yeah, I don't know about wisdom. I just want to thank everyone. I know that being an educator, as Treg said, it's an amazing job, and it's very difficult, and it's very at times challenging, but man, it means so much. So I just want to thank you. I hope that our partnership shows the gratitude that we have and that we will continue to have for the educators in this market and from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast with Treg. I hope this spreads throughout many newsrooms.
Yeah, I echo what Adam said. Just thank you. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for what you do for our students and for the future of America. I mean, we need all the help we can, and it starts in the classrooms. It starts with trust. It starts with truth. It starts with organizations like ours, Adam, myself, and news media to lay it out there, lay out the facts, let people decide. And you're doing that as well. I mean, you're essentially all journalists too in your schools. You're laying out the facts. You're helping people decide and to keep educated on what's happening in history, in the present, and in the future. And again, just thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you all do.
Thank you, Treg. Thank you, Adam. So glad you came today. And thank you to all of our attendees. And yes, Matt, we will have a recording of today's presentation. All of our resources will be mailed out next week. So as long as you've registered, you will receive them.